Hi, I'm Alvin, a CEO of Dr. Wealth, and with me today is Chris Ng, our
Hi.
ERM, Early Retirement Masterclass Trainer.
Hello.
Okay, so Merry Christmas to you, and we're all dressed in Christmassy mood.
All right.
And we're going to talk about gifts for our children.
Okay, gifts for our children. Cool.
Right, so
Right.
Chris, how many gifts have you decided to give your children?
Okay, so this year I think I went a little bit overboard. I basically has been going shopping 3 to 4 times a week, and when I find something that I like for my kids, I would buy it and then I'll bring it back home when my mum will wrap it up. So now the entire Christmas tree is full of gifts. I think there are over 10 boxes now for my children on Boxing Day, but I don't think they'll like all of them. So yeah, some of them are likely toys lah, and if they decide not to play with it, well, they're actually toys for my generation. So I'm just claiming
So actually, you're not buying for your kids, you're buying for yourself.
yes, I am. I'm
It's
quite
just an
naughty there.
excuse, right?
That's right. That's
You
right.
actually hope that your kids doesn't like the gift.
Yeah, I don't let my kids play with toys for their generation. My kids play with toys from my generation, and I think my toys are better.
I see.
My toys from the 1980s are a lot better, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So your wife actually allow you to do that?
My wife doesn't know what I got for my kids because it's wrapped up. Only my mom knows. Yeah, she doesn't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in total, how many gifts? Is it like evenly shared among you have 2 kids, right? So
Yeah, I have 2
is it
kids.
shared?
It's not easily shared because my daughter is very hard to give to. She's going through that phase in her life where she's giving up all the Pokemon, all the My Little Pony, and she's developing like her own aesthetic taste.
Okay.
Right? So we do spend more money on art classes for her.
Okay.
And I do bring her to Art Friend to buy a lot of stuff. So I think my daughter actually has fewer gifts, but I think her gifts are also more expensive.
I see.
So, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
roughly how much have you spent on Christmas gifts so far?
Wow. Maybe $300 to $400 already
Just on the 2 of them.
on the 2 of them.
My goodness.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
Makes me very stingy. I probably spend like less than 100.
Yeah, but children don't really care. The thing is that I don't
Yeah,
think my
actually it's
kids
true,
really will compare that their kids.
They don't even know how much is it.
Yeah, they don't know the valuation. So yeah, I try to teach them to put a valuation on the gifts, but it's not
So
easy.
do they use like PE ratio to value the gifts?
I'm struggling to tell them that $2 like can get you a cup of orange juice in those automated machines. Yeah, so nowhere near the P ratio so far.
As
But
in, let them relate.
yeah, let them relate lah. I think over time, I actually am planning for the gifts to start producing themselves. So a couple of days ago, I was checking out when is the earliest time my kids could get a central depository account, CDP account.
So what do you find?
And I find that you need to be 18 years old before you can get an account. Now, in my view, and I'm happy to share this with policymakers who are listening to me, 18 is a little bit too late, right? If you let my daughter set up a CDP when she's 12 years old, once she gets her pink IC, it will make it a lot easier for me to educate her financially, right? So, for example, hypothetically, I could put $100,000 worth of real estate investment trust, teach her how to monitor it, let her watch the money trickle down into her bank account, so that she will know how to spend this responsibly. Yeah, and so when my son hits 12 years old, I will just clone the same amount of shares so that he won't say that it's unfair, right? And it's all inflation adjusted because it's the same number of shares, you see. So I thought that's something which I think, at least I think is worth fighting for, and I think parents might want to consider doing that to educate their children, right, at a young age. And it's not difficult to understand. Like even as my son watches my videos, he doesn't know what I talk about most of the time, but it's got a change in his behavior when he plays Monopoly, right? Like he doesn't really know how to play, but he sort of understands that doesn't buy stuff.
Okay.
And so sometimes he will hold his money, he won't play. Right? But in Monopoly, you do that, you lose the game because then you cannot own the property and people won't fall into your trap. Yeah. So I think children sort of instinctively understand. Like I sort of had some idea of how compound interest worked when I was in primary 4, because I remember in primary school, my parents taught me how compound interest worked, and I told my teacher that that the compound interest formula is wrong. I said that you should let the amount collect and then you calculate using that increased amount. Oh, but it turns out that I was wrong because the chapter is on simple interest and I'm already on compound interest, right? Yeah.
So you're ahead of your class.
Yeah. I guess at that moment in time, I was ahead of my class, right? Yeah.
Because I do think that this is one part that a lot of parents are interested in educating their kids about financial literacy, but it's just so difficult to either get their attention, right, get their interest,
right,
and even if the interest is like, how do you relate it to a point where they can really understand? You really have to put it down into very, very, very simple terms, which is not easy.
Yeah, and I think that the simplest, I mean, as a parent, I think kids learn better when it's hands-on. So if they actually have a CDP account with real estate investment trust in it, where they can actually look and see how many shares they have, and then they can relate the payments that come into their bank account to the code. Because these days, I think when you get your dividend, the name of the stock is actually in that bank entry, in bank statement, right? Yeah, it will start to be very complicated, but actually you will know that 12 years olds these days, they're actually very, very sophisticated, right? You see kids playing Roblox, they are playing League of Legends, and it's actually more complicated than finance. You know?
I guess it's more stimulating.
Yeah, it's more stimulating.
Right? Yeah, just that I don't know whether finance is stimulating enough for them because it tends to be more conceptual rather than very visual, a lot of sound from the games. Yeah, so I always find it harder to get their attention. But I do agree with you that doing it hands-on is the best.
Yeah, right? and anyway, if it's not exciting for them, when the money goes into their bank account and they can use it to maybe get a virtual good from Roblox, you know, change the shape of their avatar, right? Then they will really understand why money works.
There's some tangible
experience. Because these days skins are very important to them. If they have a skin and their friends don't have it, then you know, but maybe the values are wrong, you know, but
So for me, I face the same problem, right? I cannot create a account for them, an investment account for them. So what I did was to at least fund their CPF account, right? So that is something that can legally own in their own name, right? So then you can see that 2.5% interest that's kicking in. But I also open my accounts under my own name, but I use their funds to invest on behalf. So I think that's the workaround now. But I do agree with you that if the authorities can really make this age thing not an issue, a lot more financial literacy, hands-on experience that.
And not to mention that we can open a special class for parent and child. You know, I'm sure the demand will be off the roof. Almost guaranteed.
I do have friends asking, do you have something that the kids and me can attend together? Because I always find that it's very hard to teach the kid.
And it's a good time for parents and kid to bond at the same time when they calculate things together. And
about something that's very sensitive, money.
It's something very sensitive, but it's really important because somehow I was exposed to it when I was younger, and I was literally managing my dad's wealth for the last 20 years of his life. So it's also useful for me, even though I'm the one with the strategies. I mean, let's face it, right? Most of working men, we won't be able to handle a 7-digit sum, even in our early 30s. If somehow your parents can trust you to be able to handle it. Of course, handling it doesn't mean you control it or you spend it, right? But the mindset it takes to elevate from 6 to 7 digits, right? When you think from a tactical perspective to a strategic perspective, that's very important, right? And if you're operating at $10,000 to $20,000, that's not the same, right? You have
10% loss is a different.
You have $10,000. You put your money into Anchor Protocol, getting 20%. That's a fine decision to make. If you have, say, $3 million, and you put maybe more than $100,000 into Anchor Protocol, you got to seriously think twice because of the amount of risk that you're taking, right? So so I think that's the big difference, and I think my view is, it's always that there is a point of time where you pivot from growing your wealth to preserving it, right? And so I think this should be a family affair.
Which the best Christmas gift is actually financial literacy to your kids.
That's right.
Right? So hopefully, we get to see more development in this area, and our kids get more savvy with money, so we have less money problem in the future.
Less life problems in the future.
Exactly. Okay. So we hope that is a good tip for you during this Christmas. Think about it, and maybe you should give your kids financial education rather than just gifts and money.
Right.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.